After what has been a tumultuous couple of days, guys, in Columbus, Ohio, as you certainly know by now, Jim Tressel has resigned as the head football coach at Ohio State. Did so Monday morning after 10 seasons at the helm of the Buckeyes. This in the wake of Tressel's admission that he had knowingly lied both to the university and the NCAA regarding OSU players trading memorabilia for tattoos at a local tattoo parlor. The story had escalated this week, with Sports Illustrated releasing a story alleging, among other things, that the dealings were more widespread than had been originally reported. Tressel's letter of resignation read, quote, "After meeting with university officials, we agreed it is in the best interest of Ohio State that I resign as head football coach." Tressel added the situation had become a distraction and that his decision had been made with the best interests of the university in mind. Tressel also took time to praise the young man he had worked with at OSU, to thank the many high school football coaches he had been in contact with as well. And he concluded by saying, quote, "We know that God has a plan for us and we will be fine. We will be Buckeyes forever." Though the school has not had a formal news conference to this point, Athletic Director Gene Smith did release this statement on Monday.
By now you have the news that our head football coach, Jim Tressel, has decided to resign. We announced it this morning. I want you to know that last night, Sunday night, when Jim returned from his vacation, he and I sat down for a while and talked about the state of our program. And it's at that time that he decided to resign. We met again this morning in his office and chatted some more, and he submitted his formal letter of resignation.
The Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney issued a statement as well, saying, quote, "Since Ohio State discovered and received information indicating possible violations in its football program in December of 2010, it has consistently reported the information in a timely and collaborative way to the NCAA. The Big Ten Conference regards this approach as fundamental and necessary and has confidence that Ohio State will continue in this manner with regard to any newly discovered or reported information." Coach Jim Tressel has made positive contributions to Ohio State and its student athletes during his tenure. He has also acknowledged making a serious mistake, and his resignation is an indication that serious mistakes have serious consequences. Chris, let me take you back to Monday. What was your reaction to hearing that Tressel had resigned?
Well, I wasn't surprised and I wasn't shocked. And quite frankly, I think anybody who works in our industry can't say that they were really shocked. I think at the end of the day, what Ohio State did is they contemplated this. Ever since these allegations started to surface, you saw a black cloud just hover over Columbus. And I think at the end of the day, they felt that the only way that cloud could dissipate is by removing Coach Tressel, or in this case, sort of working through it. Coach, when you look at this, malfeasance, if you want to call it, the handling of improper benefits, however you want to term this, the actions on Coach Tressel's part were simply indefensible. Had he gotten out in front of this thing, he might not have had a chance, but when you don't get out in front of it, you get run over by it, and that's what happened to Coach Tressel.
So, Chris, it brings us to a point where yesterday there was a significant change in university strategy. Before yesterday, it looked like Ohio State was going to fight through the problem and at the same time keep Jim Tressel as the head coach. That changed yesterday. I think it reminded all of us that no individual is bigger than the institution. But I think it also warned us that if anyone else is found to be involved in violations from this point on, that the university is going to act fast. They're not going to give anybody much time. So right now, the university strategy is we'll do whatever we have to protect the university. And you know what, Howard? I think the overriding reason is when things like this first happen, you hear from the fans. It's not until after a little more time that you hear from the people that maybe aren't connected to the university athletically, but they love the university, and they don't want to see it represented every day in the media the way it's been represented in recent days.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, if you really follow this story, Chris, like you've talked about, there's no doubt in your mind that something like this was coming down the pike. And yes, it's unfortunate, but all you need to do is look back at the allegations and look at the way they were laid out, and you look at the players that were able to compete when they were ineligible. And as a head coach, you have to know the situation of your players, and you have to be cognizant of that. In this case, they weren't. And this was obviously the things that he's done off the football field, and I mean in the community, have been great. There's no question about it. You can't imagine the amount of kids that he has helped as a football coach, giving them opportunities. But when you look at the allegations, it never looked like it was going to play well and he was going to be able to really survive this situation.
Hey, you talk about the work in the community that's very important. Coach, you were going to say something there?
Just that you just keep thinking it could have been avoided. You know, systems were in place, and if you follow the systems, this all could have been avoided. And we're going to miss a heck of a coach.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the numbers are absolutely staggering. 9-1, obviously, against Michigan. 8 BCS Bowl appearances. A share, at least, of 7 Big Ten titles in his 10 years. It's absolutely staggering. And I think it bears mentioning, too, latest APR that came out, Ohio State was second in the conference. So a lot of positive things under Jim Tressel. But ultimately, it comes down to what you guys were talking about, that the transgressions that he admitted to were just too overwhelming at this point for him to continue.